to solve it, and what are the main key factors which you should use. So look at this one. Okay, so what was the first thing I did over here is I read the whole bar chart. Okay, the chart shows expenditure of two countries on consumer good in 2010. So what's the most significant thing in this question is 2010. Okay, it's set in past, so 100% of my whole task 1 has to be written in past tense. Okay, nothing in present tense or future tense. All of that would mess up your coherence and just a second, a lot of people are joining in. So yeah, that would all mess up your task achievement and your coherence if you write anything in present tense. A lot of people are joining in right while I'm explaining.
That's great. If a lot of people are joining in, it's okay.
So yeah, I have to take
someone is saying in the comment section that explain in Hindi also, please.
Okay. What part?
No, she just wrote explain in Hindi also, please. But then if I think that we should keep the medium English only, maybe we can shift to Hindi also. But then if we'll keep the medium English, then they'll have a good command on the language. But then it completely depends on you how you want to teach, or how you want to go with.
I don't mind if they're able to understand better in Hindi, but as a personal advice, if you try to convert Hindi and English, what would happen is Hindi is a more developed and advanced language, and English is a very fresh and new language. But you will mess up the idea when you try convert something.
Exactly.
Because a tiny thing can be converted into a big one, but when you're understanding it in Hindi, there is a huge variety of things which I'll able to tell you. And
you can use both Hindi and English. There is no issue.
Okay, yeah. So let me think about that. Okay. So पहला इसमें हुआ ये है कि this is the question, और ये 2010 है. Like when you read the question, always read the year. जब भी question, okay, few more people getting admitted. Is there any way, Isha, that I could give you the command so that you will be able to admit?
No. The host only has to accept it. But from tomorrow, I am going to tell everybody that you need to join at sharp 7 so that there is no disturbance in between.
Yeah.
Else, I'll just keep the meeting on hold that after 7:05, no one else will be able to join it. So at the end of the session also, I'll give a disclaimer to everybody so that there's no disturbance in between.
You can off the waiting room so that no one will be in waiting room and they will be automatically joined.
I think last time we did that, a lot of spammers joined in. So I suggested that we do not practice that method, that anybody could join.
Yes. Let's continue. Yeah, let's continue. Let's not waste time. Let's start.
All right. So this is the first point. Everybody understand that if the dates of a bar chart or any question in task 1 is in the past, then the whole task 1 has to be written in past tense. And even if the date is not provided, let's say there is written nothing, and it just says chart below expenditure of 2 countries on consumer good in some years. So when nothing is written there, you still use past tense. And most of the time it will be in past tense. So, but do keep an eye on the dates, okay? Always keep an eye on the dates. So what are the criteria to write a bar chart, okay? जो main things हम इसमें mention करेंगे will be the most significant parts, and the most insignificant one, some simple one, and something which is in contrast. जो सबसे ज़्यादा interesting लग रही है ऐसी information, जो एक दूसरे से ज़्यादा अलग दिशा में जा रही है ऐसी information, और ऐसी information जो कि बिल्कुल अलग ही है एक country के लिए और दूसरे country के लिए. पूरा का पूरा you have to do the whole analysis and think about it, and your task is to explain the whole chart in English by paraphrasing each and every information which is written in here. Samjhe? So the first thing will be introduction. So most of you would be wondering that the introduction should be a huge paragraph, but that's not necessary. Like if you have the content to cover up a huge paragraph, do it, but don't force it. जरूरत नहीं है कि introduction में बहुत ज़्यादा कुछ लिखा हो. This is the simplest way which I do. Like this chart depicts the amount of money spent on consumer goods in France and UK in 2010. Measuring scale is practiced in pounds. And this statement is also important. जब आप अपना introduction दे रहे हो, when you're paraphrasing the question, आप पढ़ने वाले को ये समझा रहे हो कि what does this whole thing stand on. और उससे measuring scale लिखने से that the information which the person is going to read now becomes easy, right? So even if it's not in pounds, and if we are talking about heights and it is in centimeter, then you mention that measuring scale or the method to measure is in centimeter, or for in our case it is sterling pound. Okay, so that's the first thing. You introduce the whole question so that the reader gets the idea. Okay, the next thing will be come up with the most significant points. जो भी सबसे ज़्यादा ज़रूरी points तुम्हें लगते हैं, जो भी सबसे ज़्यादा important points तुम्हें लगते हैं, by reading this graph, तुम्हें उसे paraphrase करके you have to put on all the information. So यहाँ पे the first information which I have put over here is, by reading the graph, is that to embark, this is a cohesive device. Okay, everyone, this is what I personally do. If I ever write an essay, I will always begin my body paragraph with to embark, and you all should try to practice this too. Like come up with your own cohesive word, like firstly to begin with, and always do that. Like that makes a good impression. Okay, you're connecting your whole thing from the beginning. So yes, the first thing is to embark. In the terms of cars, UK has spent about 450,000 pounds, in contrast to the French that have spent 400,000 pounds. So सबसे पहला मैंने जब ये point देखा, it is not important to read it from here. Like if you see that कि जो सबसे ज़रूरी point है वो books है, and this part is over here, then you mention books. जो भी आपकी मर्जी हो उस हिसाब से you read the graph and you explain the graph. Okay. So ये upon reading, I thought this is the most highest expenditure in this whole graph. So सबसे पहले मैंने वो mention किया, right, कि UK में लोग 450,000 pounds खर्च किए हैं 2010 में on cars, और उसके विपरीत, in contrast, in opposed to that, people in France have spent 400,000 pounds. So that's one whole point. Okay, you gave one of the information about cars, so that's covered. You don't have to mention it anywhere now, for now. Then I use cohesive devices, and I again repeat what I did earlier. British expenditure on books was superseding that of France, around 400,000 pounds and 300,000 pounds respectively. So again, I presented my information in a whole different way. I could have just done it again, that books in UK are 400,000 expenditure, and books in France are 300,000. What did I do? I made a paraphrase statement again. I used the cohesive device in continuity. The British expenditure on books was superseding. I used superseding, and I did not use more than or some of the common lexical resource. When you write superseding, it means that one of the thing is more than the other. That's a good lexical resource to be used in task 1. Superseding that of France, around 400,000 pounds and 300,000 pounds respectively. One more thing. So the measuring scale is in pounds, right? So you can do this. You can write pounds, or you could just make the sign of pound. Okay, if you know how to do that perfectly, then you can make the sign. And
Rishita, I'm really sorry to disturb you, but someone is saying that can you please zoom out the screen so that it becomes more visible?
Okay. Is it good now?
Ishani, is it fine now? Okay, she's not replying. You can continue then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So again, yeah, I paraphrased the information which I read over here about books, that UK spends way more on books compared to France. Okay. Did you all? So that's again, it's quite easy, you know, to attempt the task one, but it's quite complex when you don't, you are not able to read the whole information perfectly and able to paraphrase it, like write it in your own words. अपने खुद के शब्दों में जब तुम ये पढ़ी हुई चीजें नहीं लिख पाओगे, so that's the whole task one. मतलब वही करना है तुम्हें इसमें. You have to read this, तुम्हें analyze करना है, तुम्हें देखना है, समझना है, और अपने खुद के शब्दों में पूरा का पूरा समझाना है with cohesive devices like this. So that's one thing. Then what did I do after cars and books? मुझे जो ये significant points लगे थे कि how UK is spending more on cars and books, and उसके विपरीत में France is spending less. Then I went to the third point. I used cohesive device. Thirdly, keep this all in a continuity. Okay, the expenditure on cameras in the UK was way more than double. Again, there is a significant point. Like France is just spending 150. This, okay. This meeting will end in 10 minutes. I don't know why. If the meeting ends in 10 minutes, because we already have a warning.
No, it is not going to end. I have done it. It is not going to end.
Right? It says remaining time.
Yeah, I have upgraded it already. It will not.
It's not upgraded in my system, but let's see.
Okay.
If it stops, I'll just join again. Just give me a second, right? But until then, I'll keep explaining.
Okay. And
So yes.
I don't know why screen is not clear. Someone is saying in the comment section, screen is not clear. But then
like a lot of zoom out messes up the delivered picture.
It's okay. It's visible. Maybe some network issue because it's clear in my laptop. It's okay. You continue.
Okay.
You continue.
So that's the third information. If the UK is spending a lot more, then this is a significant point, and I should notify or depict. मतलब कि मुझे इसे बाहर मतलब दिख सके ऐसा फर्स्ट पैराग्राफ में significant information के साथ लिखा है, और मैंने इनकी comparison भी दिखाई है, like, क्योंकि it's more than double. 150,000 pounds. I have written about 350,000 pounds in UK. So this is one of the comparison, one of the significant comparison. Because 150,000 and 350 is a huge difference. So here was significant comparison. From this paragraph, what you exactly understand is, जो सबसे ज़्यादा significant information है, जैसे कि ये cars का expenditure which is highest than all of these, वो मैंने दिखाया. That's the most significant, सबसे ज़्यादा important बात हुई. उसके बाद जो सेकंड सबसे ज़्यादा इम्पोर्टेंट एक्सपेंडिचर होगा वो कहा मैंने, और उसके बाद मैंने ऐसी एक इन्फॉर्मेशन बताई जिसमें एक ड्रामेटिक डिफरेंस है. सो दोस कुड बी 3 पॉइंट्स व्हेन यू अटेम्प्ट योर बार ग्राफ. मैंने कैमरास के बारे में जिसमें एक ड्रामेटिक डिफरेंस है एक दूसरे की प्राइसिंग के बीच में, मैंने बताया कार्स के बीच में जिसमें ड्रामेटिक एक्सपेंडिचर डिफरेंस है. मैंने बुक्स के बारे में बताया जहाँ में इतना ज़्यादा ड्रामेटिक भी नहीं है और स्टिल यूके स्पेंडिंग वे मोर than France. So that could be your first paragraph. You don't need more than 2 body paragraphs to explain the whole graph. And I do not suggest that you make a lot of paragraphs and you keep writing and writing, because you have a word limit of 150. And if you write less than 150, you will be penalized for that. वो आपके marks cut करते हैं if you write less words than 150. But if you exceed way more than 150, मतलब 180 to 190 words should be enough. if अगर तुम 200-210 words लिख के आ रहे हो 210 words, then again they will cut your marks for task achievement because your task is to write 150 words. But if you are not perfectly 150 words, then still 190 या 180 के area में it is acceptable. But it is not acceptable to write 130 or 140 words. Again, 150 से ऊपर हो 20 या 30 word, that will be good. So yeah, that keeping that in mind, हमारे पास दो body paragraph है. There's one introduction which tells us what the whole paragraph stands for. और मैंने दूसरे body paragraph में क्या किया है. Okay, so मैंने यहाँ पे 3 information already दे दी है. Cars, the most significant ones, कि जो सबसे ज़्यादा सबसे पहले कोई किसी भी पढ़ने वाले की आँख पे पड़ेगी, क्योंकि the biggest difference will be car, cameras and books. So मैंने पहले बता दिया, the reader is able to understand cars, books and cameras. So what's the next thing? जो भी बचा है, I will talk about that. Something which will catch the eye of a reader after looking at the most significant part in a paragraph. Okay. In contrast, the money paid out, जो भी दूसरा expenditure है, for the other goods in France is higher when you look at it. After you eliminate these three, France ने ज़्यादा खर्चा किया है UK से only in 2 departments. So yes, that can be mentioned in this. So in contrast, about 350,000 pounds was spent by the French on computers, which was slightly more than British, who exactly spent 350. So the thing is, I used about 350,000. Again, going back to this, let me zoom in for a second. You see computers, and this is on the line of 350, and this is on the line of more than 350. But I do not suggest that you come up and write 375,000, something like that. The digits which are not mentioned in here, and if you write that, that would be technically you going out of the topic, and you do not have to add any information, even a slightest bit of information which is not present in your task 1's question. Being more innovative is a part of task 2. Okay. So yes, I smartly use the word above 350,000 in UK or here. So yes, that proves my point that computers in France was slightly about higher than in British. Again, I'm reading the graph. मैंने एक और point बता दिया जिसमें significance है France. समझ आया? So that would be the second thing. और उसके बाद there's another significant thing. Like हर जगह पे you are able to see that people are spending at least around 350 to more than $250,000, right? So this is the only thing in the whole graph where the expenditure is so less that the highest sell was 200,000 pounds in France, and that was also in France. In UK was even less than that. Okay, so again, as I do not have a perfect idea of what this stands for, what I will write is less than 200,000 pounds. The expenditure in UK for perfume was less than 200,000 pounds. Because if you try to manipulate or depict the information which is already not that, there's not task achievement, you will get your marks cut over there. Okay. So however, this is how I found my final point of the graph. However, like however can be used क्योंकि मैंने हर जगह सब कुछ समझा दिया है कि everything is I'm giving a basic idea कि everything is going beyond 100,000 or 200,000. So however, इतने सारा खर्चा होने के बावजूद भी, however, neither of the countries spent much on perfumes. किसी भी कंट्री ने परफ्यूम के ऊपर ज्यादा खर्चा किया नहीं है. So yes, that's how I accounted it. I used under 150,000 pounds and not under 200,000 pounds of France. Okay, so that's again a significant information. जो भी ये पढ़े, your main goal should be that whosoever reads this has to be able to understand the whole thing by reading it. And when he looks at the graph, उसे पूरा समझ आना चाहिए. So you cannot add anything which is not already in here. Okay. And now comes the final part, the conclusion or the overview. You can write this after your introduction or over here. But if you are new or you do not have a lot of practice, I think once you read the whole graph and you are able to explain the whole thing, तब आपको भी समझ आ जाएगा कि वो ओवरऑल पूरा का पूरा बार ग्राफ कहना क्या चाहता है और पूरा का पूरा बार ग्राफ की बेस लाइन क्या है, समझे. So over here I'm again using a cohesive device, agglomerate, which means all of the information provided above, and when you collect that all information, we were able to sum it that the UK spent more consumer goods than France in the given period. So अगर हम पूरा ग्राफ देखते हैं तो UK का है orange bar stands for UK, right? So every time or most of the time UK has spent more money or almost as same as the French buyers. So ये एक सिग्निफिकेंट इन्फॉर्मेशन हुई. मतलब अगर कोई ये पूरा का पूरा नहीं पढ़ा, फिर भी सिर्फ ये लाइन पढ़ के they will be able to understand कि जो यूके का बार है, the people from UK have spent way more than the people of France on consumer goods, right? फिर again, what's the another significant thing? Well, there was a significant thing जो कि important लग रही थी क्योंकि UK spent all of their money, most of their money on consumer goods. Again, the most significant thing over here is perfume, क्योंकि किसी भी कंट्री ने परफ्यूम के ऊपर ज्यादा से ज्यादा पैसे खर्च नहीं किए. So that will also be, that can